All right, I need to review my futures trade today. I'm always looking for certain patterns. There's one particular pattern that I like a lot, and it's this one where there's two tries to sell off, and then it comes back up and it consolidates before going up higher. It's kind of a W pattern, two tries to sell off. It tries to sell off once. It usually breaks a trend line coming down, and it consolidates, or it breaks two trend lines coming down, and then it'll consolidate over here, and then it takes off. That's one of my favorite patterns to trade. You can't really see it on this 10,000 tick chart here on this side right here, but when I came in, this is what the 10,000 tick was doing. It was consolidating under the 200. Let's see, the day chart was showing that the red was coming down into these pen tails, right? And what ended up happening, it reversed and went all the way back up. This is later on, again, as the we're getting closer to the afternoon, and so it did come back down. But I was looking for a bounce because it was coming down into these previous days' pen tails, and it did do that. So let's take a look at the trade as I did it in real time here on the. Well, I was looking on the 1,000 tick chart too. I came in when the market, you can see how it came back down right here. But when I came in, the market was doing this, bouncing off these areas. Now, why is this bounce important? Because in the bigger picture, it looked like it was coming off of a two try to sell. You can see this try to sell right here. There's one try to sell down, another try to sell down. It came up and consolidated right here, right? And I missed the move up, but it was coming back down to this like support area. A lot of times these pivots that it breaks out from will be support. You can see it did it two times right there, support, two times. I was like, okay, maybe I did catch this at a time when I can actually get in there and do something with it. And I actually did. I took two trades. One of them worked, one of them didn't. The very first one I tried was a failure because I was looking for it to break this trend line coming down right here, break this trend line coming down, right? And it did. The first one, and I like to sometimes wait for two trend lines, okay? Because when it broke the trend line, as you can see, when it broke that trend line coming down right here, it started to go green and then it reversed instantly. And this green candle here got taken up by another one. So I wasn't too interested in taking any longs on that yet, and it created another trend line from this pivot here. And it went down into these boxes. These boxes are the support areas that I drew on the higher time chart. So I know exactly where I'm looking for it to bounce, okay? So what happens on the second trend line? Well, actually, like I said, I shouldn't have taken this trade. This is the failure. Let's back up a minute. After it broke the trend line right here and put in a doji, I had no confirmation. I just jumped in it because it broke the trend line. But these little tips right here, I guess is what I was using because it went into the box. These two little tips, I said, okay, that's enough for me. I'm going to jump in. And then it creates these bearish candles. And when it came back, I kept my tight stop very tight. And I got stopped out for a very small little deal here. And it kept going, right? Well, on the very next candle, it went deeper. And it created a stronger, it came right back out of that box, which is what I'm looking for. I want to test the support areas, the resistance areas, and I want it to come back. And so that's what I was looking for. And that's what I thought I had right here with these two little things here. And then what I did this time was it did come down. It would have stopped me out. It almost did. But this time I used this area here, this little red line I ended up putting that as my stop loss. I said, I don't want to just keep getting ticked out. Let's go for a real structure. Let's put it at real structure and not too tight. And sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. Right here, I may have still been in this trade had I kept my stop underneath this pivot. In fact, I would have never gotten stopped out of that first trade. But live and learn. I'm still profitable with this tight. I like to have tight stop losses. I'm never going to stop doing that. But there's times when we need to let it run and let it have some room. And I'm still trying to figure all that out. But I went long ago on it as soon as it created this green candle here and closed above the box. But it did dip down and it almost stopped me out. And I need to start learning how to let price work itself out. And I was very glad that I did, because it continued to go up to the targets that I was looking for. And I was very, very excited about that. Let's see, my first target was right here. And I said, let me try for 2. And I went up to the second one. And that's where I stopped out. I think it was close. I probably could have gotten 3. I absolutely could have gotten 3. But I was happy to just hold on for a 2 times reward. And before it went crashing down even. Look at this. So that was good. I could have gotten 3 out of it, but I only got 2 out of it. So the patterns work. They don't always work, because I'll show you on, I think it was Tesla today. I traded that same pattern and it did not work. So, but it is a very interesting pattern. Okay, on the Tesla today, it gapped down. It's been going down, and it went way down into a box to support. It bounced really hard and went up nice and strong. This is the daily chart right here, and underneath our support levels. I know it's a little messy looking chart, but here's the 5-minute chart. Perhaps that'll help show you what we're looking at here with the bounce on Tesla. It gapped down, and it went up to the close of yesterday and just kept right on going. And it was awesome. And in this area here, it put in my pattern. And it's a very nice pattern. It just needed longer to develop into. It looks like it's turning into a nice cup with handle. Right in this area right here is where it developed my pattern. And it is a wonderful pattern. It's my favorite pattern. Let's go look at it. But it doesn't always work. Okay. So let's take a look at it right here on the 1-minute chart. You can see that pattern quite nicely. What is it again? Well, let's look. It's 2 tries to sell off. And it is 1, up, down, up, and it consolidates right here, and it continues to go up. Okay, so I tried it, and it looks like I had my, let's see, where my stop loss was right here. My entry was right here. So I was looking for a target up to this pivot, at least 1-to-1, so I could bring my stop up to break even. And I probably would have broke even on this trade, but I had to take a little bit of a hit. So I got out. But what I was trying to do is catch it on support. I was trying to catch it on support. Let's see, I tried once, I tried twice, 3 times, and the 4th time I finally did support. It made a run up to here for like 3 times risk, and basically all these little, I basically made up for the losses that I had taken on these trades, and a small little loss for Tesla today, unfortunately, but that's how it goes. And I probably could have avoided all these little scalps down here, but I'm practicing and training, and it was a very small loss. And when you take all of it together, this last hit down here, I should have stayed in longer, and it would have been a positive. And it looks like it's developing nicely into a 5-minute chart, a cup with handle. But I'm done trading for the day. I might set an alarm and take a look at that a little bit later. But that was the Tesla. Tesla, I think, was my only loss today. All right, let's take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA has been really a lot of momentum, and here's today, a little small gap, and it just kept pushing, and it was nice. It was a nice bull move. And so what we got to do here is look what I got in. Let's see, I drew the first 5-minute candles, you know what I mean? And then I looked for it to break out over the top of that 5-minute range, and it head faked me a couple of times. And it really makes me mad because, you know, here's a 5-minute candle. The very first one is the 5-minute candle, and it did break out, but you can see the red candle coming up back down past that. And that's the 5. And here's what happened on the 1-minute chart. You can see that it bounced off the 8 and put a pintail and a green candle right off that 8 moving average. It should have kept going, but it didn't. I put my stop really tight underneath that candle, and it stopped me out and went right back up. And I said, there's a nice green candle right here, and I bought on that candle, and it came down and engulfed that candle into this consolidation area, but not below that consolidation area. So I need to make a note of that, and certainly not below the structure that it made right here, which I could have used. Any one of those spots, the consolidation or the structure. Neither one were below the uprising 20. I need to make a note of this, and I need to pay attention. I need to get this because, both of these stops could have been avoided really if I used the 20 moving average. This stop could have been avoided if I had used the consolidation or at the highest, and the lowest, the structure bounce right here. Kept bouncing off the 20, never closed below the 20. Now this little bit right here, it closed below the 20, but the very next candle went right back over. This trade was an accident. I had put a trade in here for the breakout and forgot about it and heard order field. And I said, what order? And I looked, oh yeah, I put a trade in here. And because of this accidental trade, it skyrocketed and I sold here some of it, and it skyrocketed and I sold the rest of it up here. Got back in for another trade here and decided to break even before this massive fall down right here. Then it came down here where I bought at the bottom, and it sold everything as it bounced up. I bought down here when it broke the trend line, another one of my favorite trades. When something breaks the trend line, I'm looking for my two try-sell consolidation pattern. It's got a mini version of that really right here. If you look, it's sloppy. It's a sell here, a sell here. It comes up and consolidates right here. And it's not as defined, but I bought anyway. And I sold immediately when it hit a little bit up profit, and because I went too heavy. And I sold the rest of it here where this pivot was right here. And that worked out real good. All right, the swing trade on BA Boeing, day chart, gapping down, bad news, plane crash, When do you say enough is enough, and when do you start to take profits? That's the question. Massive bad news. It just now went below the 200. The 200 is actually going up. I have a feeling this is at least going to go down to this pivot right here. I can't imagine it not after a plane crash. That's a rare event, very negative news. It's been down here in recent months, like a year ago. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't drop down into the 130s. So it's got quite a ways down to go if that's the case. I shouldn't get too antsy. And what happened was I was just so happy about my profits that I had that I took some off right here because it was starting to go up. As soon as it started rolling back down, I just added back, and I actually added some more, and I took some profit. So I have a profit in this trade already, but so even if it goes all the way back up to break even up here and I have to close out, it's still a profitable trade. But I really want to learn from this experience. My first overnight short trade, where I'm holding a short position overnight, multiple days, and it's really going to be a good learning experience. So I hope that I am reading this right, and we'll try to manage these trades as best we can. That's the Boeing short. When you're trading 2, 3, and 4 stocks at the same time, and it's okay if it's managed properly. It does take your attention away. So today was a profitable day, and I'm able to do it if I'm clear-headed and got good rest. But here on Microsoft, the first 5-minute range broke below that range and started to go down, and I just shorted and kept my stop very tight, went back into the 5-minute range where I stopped out. And it's probably a good thing because it has not really done, well, wait a minute, it did eventually break down below that. I'd like to see, actually with you on the recording here, what I could have done differently, of course. Here it starts to break down again. And, under the 200 this time, you can see that it's creating lower highs. And, I think maybe I just went too early on it. The idea was, you never know. It could have went just fine. It could have kept going just fine. But it did have a really strong move first. 1, 2, 3. It could have easily kept going, but it stopped me out, and I started looking at other things. I was trading for 2 or 3 other things, and I just never looked back at it. But I'm sure that if I didn't have any other trades, I'm sure I would have tried this again, and there's no better place really to try it again than right here underneath the 5-minute range and the 200 moving average. Keep your stop tight and just let that thing go to your second or third target, or at least down to the close of yesterday. And I think that would have been a positive trade. This was a little tiny loss today as well. And, fortunately, we're still positive because of all the other trades we did. But that's the trade I should have taken. And I'm not disappointed about this trade. This was done right in my opinion. I stopped out quickly. It was worth a try. Let's take a look over here though on the 5-minute chart. I was buying into the shorting into these moving averages going up, and on this side you can see the 8 and the 20 had crossed under each other, and the short would have been much better over here somewhere in this area, especially when everything crossed under the 50 moving average. So that could have been an oversight, but I can't look at all these time charts. If I was trading this one stock, I would have concentrated a whole lot better on the higher time charts. So all I was doing was playing the 5-minute range on it, and that was good enough for my rules. And we stopped out quickly, and it worked out with the day trading everything else, including the futures. We were up today. So, that's what happens when you juggle a lot of stocks at once. You can't always pay attention to all the details on them, but that's just one of the cons of the whole thing. It's still I still like trading a lot of stocks at once if I can manage it. As long as I'm profitable and can be profitable, I'm going to keep doing it. So thank the Lord for that. All right,